Hey, I'm Aaron Higgins. Welcome back to New England Flyer Cooking. Today we're talking open-faced steak sandwich. And this is going to be really, really good. And it's going to be a little bit different because so far you've seen me cook on the Traeger, you've seen me cook on a charcoal grill. Today we're going to be cooking on clean burning propane. Today you get to taste the meat, not the heat. Anyway, what I've got here is I've got some sirloin steak tips, and this is the meat we're going to be using for our open-faced steak sandwich. So before we fire up my propane grill, we're going to throw some seasoning on this, and for this we're going to be using the bullshit rub. And this is a rub that's specifically designed for steak and beef. A lot of salt, a lot of black pepper, real pepper heavy, and some other random spices in there, which I'm sure are going to be delicious. But what we want to do is we just want to give this a nice crust. You know, just come right over the top of these sirloin tips. And try not to get rub all over the floor. Going to give it a pretty cool color too. I've never seen a steak rub that's quite this orange. So and what we'll do is we'll flip them over afterwards. So, same thing, back over the top of it. What we want to do now is we want to just let this hang out for about 15 minutes. You don't need to let it hang out very, very long. Just let the rub kind of go to work on this meat a little bit. And in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to go down and get the little Weber Q fired up and hot. See you down there. Okay, so for this one here, I'm going to use my my little Weber Q. This thing is really, really handy, especially if you don't have time to fiddle with charcoal. So what we have here is we have these grates, and they're made by a company called Grill Grates, and you can buy them custom order, basically for any grill. These are two pieces, they actually lock together, and what's cool about it is the bottom side serves as a nice flat top too, so you can do some kind of flat top cooking on your grill, and they leave great grill marks on your steak. So we're just gonna get this bad boy lit. Sometimes the starter works, sometimes it doesn't, but now that we're lit, we're gonna close this back up and we're gonna let these grates get hot, and we're gonna throw our steaks on. Stick around. Okay, so we're out here, grill's hot. All we're gonna do is we're just gonna give it a quick dose of cooking spray. Might get a little bit of flare up, but that's fine. Now we're gonna get these bad boys on. Cook these to whatever doneness you want. I typically go right around medium, straight down the middle. Obviously, more cook time if you want it beaten to death. Less cook time if you want it still bleeding. But either way, we're gonna go medium just to make everybody happy. Stick around. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes and we're gonna give these bad boys a flip. Get these small ones right off because they're done. These grill grates really gave him some good marks. Oh yeah. A few more minutes and we're gonna be taking these upstairs, and then we gotta saute our vegetables. We gotta let these rest just like any cut of meat. You know, you can let it rest, especially beef. That's what I've noticed with beef. The longer you let it rest, the more juice goes back into the meat. Okay, so while our steak is resting, now is a good time to saute our vegetables. And all I have here is a bowl of chopped green peppers and onions, and a pan with some olive oil in it. It's nice and hot. Stir these bad boys around, let them get a decent sweat. Once they've started to sweat a little bit, you can pull them off and just set them aside. Top our sandwiches with these later. Yeah, that is smelling awesome. But what I do want to show you is how to make what I call this yum yum sauce. And yum yum sauce is a little broad, but you know, it's basically any sauce that tastes good. What I have here is I have this bottle of Source Fire Master Tater hot sauce. And this is from a company up in Warren, Rhode Island. The owners' names are John and Todd, and they're really cool guys, cool to do business with. My wife had bought some of this stuff from the Sons of Liberty whiskey distillery last year, and I fell in love with this stuff. It's a nice sweet potato, carrot, and habanero pepper and spices all blended into this really nice hot sauce. I love this stuff. And I needed to find more of it, and I didn't know where to buy it, so I called the company directly, and the owners were really cool. So they sent me 3 bottles of it, and all I'm doing is I'm basically doing a 50-50 mixture with some organic mayonnaise, and it kind of makes like a almost like a Big Mac sauce. So all I do is I just kind of, you know, get this all blended together. Me personally, depending on how hot you want it and how much flavor you want, and I typically go a little, I try to go a little hot sauce heavy here. And that's pretty good right about there. So now all I'm doing is I just took some grinder rolls, because that's what we have up here. We have friggin' big fat grinders. We don't have subs. We don't have hero sandwiches up here in New England. We have big friggin' grinders. So I took some grinder rolls and I just sliced them right down the middle. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a little bit of butter, and I'm just going to lightly, very lightly, skim the top of this thing. But we just want a nice coat of butter on there, because we're gonna set our steak and our vegetables and everything like that on top of this. And then we're going to put them in the oven. We lost the light up here, so it's dark outside. If you really want to, you can throw it back on the grill, or you could, if you have a Traeger, throwing it on the Traeger would be dynamite. But for the sake of speed and everything else, we're just gonna throw it right in the oven. We're probably gonna throw it on 350, just enough to melt our cheese. But we're a little ways away from doing that, so when we get back, I'll show you how to set this up, melt the cheese, and we'll be good to go. Stick around. Okay, so our steak's been resting. Per the request of one particular heretic that we have in the group, they asked for me to, they actually use the term killed for their steak, so I killed it. So we're just gonna segregate that. But anyway, no, you like it the way you like it. I get it. So we're just gonna slice into this one. We just want to make some nice thin slices, not even really thin. I usually go about, a 1/4 inch, with some nice bite-sized pieces, and that looks awesome. We're gonna slice all these up, and this is what's gonna go on our open-faced steak sandwich. Like I said, medium, straight across the board. 9 times out of 10, everybody's happy. You might have the occasional someone that wants it still alive, or wants it, looking like it just fell into a volcano. Yeah, and these are coming out really, really nice. Good pink center. That's what we want. At least that's what I want. And while I'm at it, I think I've earned this. That's awesome. Give me 10 minutes, I'm gonna slice the rest of this up. I'll show you how to make these sandwiches. We'll get them in the oven, and then I'll probably eat it in about 2.5 bites. Stick around. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a crowded kitchen island here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start building these sandwiches. And what we're gonna do is we've got our buttered bread right here, and we're just gonna take some of this really nice steak, and we're just gonna layer it, right on top of these pieces of bread. And per our request, we have our beaten to death sandwich. The one that looks like a dragon breathed on it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back over with our veggies. We're just gonna sprinkle some sauteed onions and peppers on top of these sandwiches. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back over the top of this with, this is a blend of mozzarella and shredded provolone. And we're just gonna sprinkle a good dose of cheese right on top. So what's a steak sandwich without cheese, right? Okay, so now that we got these sandwiches loaded up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw these in the oven at 350 for about 10, maybe 15 minutes until this cheese is melted and you get maybe a nice golden brown color to it. Okay guys, so this is the moment I've been waiting for. Sandwich just came out of the oven. That cheese is nice and melty. We got some yum yum sauce scattered around on top of this sandwich. And now I'm about to dive in, but before we do, let's do a quick rundown on what we did. What we did is we got some sirloin steak tips, and we marinated them with the bullshit seasoning. Now, for some of you guys who might want to know what bullshit seasoning is like, it's like a better version of McCormick's Montreal steaks. Sorry, McCormick, but bullshit is the shit. It's really good stuff. And then we fired up the Weber Q, cooking over clean burning propane. So we cooked it to a straight medium just to make everybody happy, except for, you know, one of our group here, you know, likes dragon's breath on her steak. So that's how we cooked it. And then what we did is we sauteed some onions and some green peppers, and we set those aside, buttered some bread, and you can use whatever bread you'd like. Put the steak on top, and we threw our vegetables right on top of the steak, and then we made a yum yum sauce out of the Source Fire Master Tater hot sauce. We cut that about, I would say like 2/3 sauce to 1/3 mayonnaise. You know, my 50-50 estimate was, wasn't quite right. As I forgot to mention earlier before I threw these in the oven is that before we threw them in, we just gave it a quick sprinkle of some dried parsley flakes. Threw it in for about 15 minutes, let the cheese melt. You get a little golden brown on there, and now it's out, and now it's my favorite time of the day, and here we go. All right. Not a really good steak sandwich. Got the spice from the sauce, flavor from the rub. The vegetables were perfect. The bread's crispy, but it's not over toasted. You don't have to season the vegetables. You get plenty of flavor coming out of the rub on the steak. That's beautiful. I could eat this every day. I think I say that about everything on this channel, but you know, if it wasn't true, I wouldn't say it. So I don't know what to tell you. But other than make this and eat it, put it in your body now. Anyway, if you like what you see on this channel and you want to see more of it, and you have any suggestions for us or anything like that, give us a subscribe. Give us your feedback in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to, you know, hear any ideas that you might have. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next time. I'm gonna smash this.